Hello, this is my text analysis and multimedia presentation of Shirley Climo's The Korean Cinderella. I chose to do the text analysis through the lens of a reader response criticism. The reader response criticism occurs when the reader's reaction to the literature or text is the most important element in interpreting the meaning of the text. In a reader response theory using a deconstructionist lens, the author is displaced as the main source of interpretation. According to Tyson, reader response theorists share two beliefs. One, that the role of the reader cannot be omitted from our understanding of literature. And two, that readers do not passively consume the meaning presented to them by an objective literary text. Rather, they actively make the meaning they find in literature. A little more about author displacement. The post-structural writer, Roland Barthes, states that once authors are no longer the absolute authority of the text, and readers begin to question the text, then text becomes plural, and the interpretation of text becomes a collaborative process between author and audiences. Barthes explains that a text is made of multiple writings drawn from many cultures and entered into mutual relations of dialogue. But there is only one place where this multiplicity is focused, and that place is the reader. The earliest known tale of Cinderella was written in Greece around 7 BC. Cinderella is a fairy tale with thousands of versions all over the world. From its inception in 7 BC to present day, Cinderella continues to influence and reflect cultures all over the world, from literature, movies, operas, ballets, theaters, musicals, television, animation, books, and even video games. According to Friedman, storytellers and writers have used Cinderella as a social criticism, a tool to teach moral lessons, entertainment to create sympathetic bonds with characters, and a way to preserve culture and traditions. The famous author Jane Jolin once said, Cinderella speaks to all of us in whatever skin we inhabit. The child mistreated, a princess or a highborn lady in disguise, bearing her trials with patience and fortitude. She makes intelligent decisions, for she knows that wishing solves nothing without concomitant action. The following reader response questions are the ones I chose to analyze the Korean Cinderella. 1. How does the interaction of text and reader create meaning? As readers interact with the text, they innately bring their emotions, knowledge, and experiences to bear to their interpretations of the text. Some readers might explicitly choose a lens from a literary theory to derive a specific interpretation of the text, while other readers' interpretation or meaning of the text might be different depending on the lens used, and, and it might not be the author's intended meaning. 2. What does a phrase by phrase analysis of a short literary text or key portion of a longer text tell us about the reading experience pre-structured by that text? According to the author's note, Ms. Climo did an extensive research of 3 Korean versions of Cinderella before creating her version. She incorporated Korean words to add authenticity to the story. Ms. Heller, the illustrator, embedded traditional Korean art forms, traditional Korean symbolisms, and traditional Korean patterning in her illustrations throughout the book. Both work to provide a reading experience filled with Korean symbolism. What does the body of criticism published about a literary text suggest about the critics who interpret that text and or about the reading experience produced by that text? Depending on the literary goals of the authors, fairy tales were used to criticize or perpetuate norms of the time period. Jane Jolin criticized the American Cinderella as a spun sugar caricature of her harder European and Oriental forebears, and making her a coy, helpless dreamer, a nice girl, while the other Cinderellas made their own way in the world, tricking the stepsisters with double talk, artfully disguising themselves, or figuring out a way to win the king's son. Readers could bring a theory lens, like a cultural, social, and or gender lens, to the reading experience. As a reader, I chose to focus on the positive way the males treat Cinderella, the female character. Here, the old man, good fortune, the old man explained. Here, the old man is expressing the joy of having a daughter. He and his wife are overjoyed with Pear Blossom that they give her the most auspicious name. In Korea, the pear is a sign of fertility, good health, and wisdom. Aye, aye, go, wailed the old man. Who will tend to my pear blossom now? When the old man becomes a widower, he is concerned with Pear Blossom's care, that he decides to marry a stranger to give Pear Blossom a mother figure and a sister. I have luck enough if she who wears this one becomes my bride. The magistrate lets everyone know that it is he that will be the lucky one if Cinderella chooses him. Cinderella is a good person. Her kindness, humility, patience, and respect for familial duties are desirable traits that will be rewarded. The reader is able to explore and interpret Cinderella in a way that makes sense to the reader's cultural background and beliefs. The reader is also able to understand why cultures do certain things and how in certain society things have a great value. In Korean culture, all of Cinderella's traits are very desirable in female behavior. Understanding Korean culture and traditions adds a whole other layer of meaning to the Korean Cinderella. Miss Climo uses the dokaibi, the Korean goblins, to help bear Pear Blossom and to play tricks on Peony. The dokaibi are nature spirits with a supernatural powers and have the ability to change forms. In the story, the dokaibi changed into a green frog, a group of sparrows, and a black ox. In Korean culture, a green frog is a symbol of foresight, good luck, prosperity, abundance, growth, and money. The sparrows represent the joy of a long life, while the black ox represents diligence, honesty, patience, and hard work. The most auspicious animal is the pig, the second animal in the Korean zodiac. The pig is a source of fortune and happiness. Symbolism is being used to teach what is of great value in Korean traditions and society. Using a reader response theory with a deconstructionist lens, I am comparing the idea of Cinderella and the idea of Barbie for my contemporary connection. Both Cinderella and Barbie have become more than a literary device and a doll. They both started representing an idea of a woman, but now they carry layers of cultural and societal interpretations. As new generations interact with Cinderella and Barbie, we, the reader or audience, keep applying layers and layers of meaning to both Cinderella and Barbie to reflect ourselves and our societal values. Both have become cultural icons, and their presence continue to influence through books, movies, TV shows, toys, and much more. Cinderella's As a reader, I have chosen to see Cinderella as an archetype that represents good over evil, overcoming adversity to finally feel love and acceptance. Through her unrecognized attributes, kindness, patience, courage, she overcomes unjust oppression. Her story is also about the power of true love overcoming all obstacles. Her mother's love reaching out to her through different literary devices. Other readers might only see her as a victim. As the audience, I choose to see Barbie as an archetype that at first represents possibilities, creativity, imagination, fashion, and beauty. Several decades later, she now also represents empowerment, diversity, inclusivity, and a platform that addresses social issues. Barbie can be a canvas that reflects the diversity of her audience, both from her fans and from her detractors. I was able to find the following article in the New York Times by Jessica Bennett. I saw Barbie with Susan Faludi, and she has a theory about it. Ms. Bennett's question for Ms. Faludi was: could a movie currently fueling Barbiecore across America actually be a vehicle for a meaningful political message? Miss Faldy replied, "It seems to me that a big theme underlying the movie is shock and horror over what happened to us, what happened to women from 2016 and on, with a double whammy of Trump and then Dobbs. And in particular," Miss Faldy said, "she thought about abortion was a subtext to a lot." She explained, it begins with little girls playing with dolls, learning the origin story of Barbie, and the rejection of the idea that women can just be mothers. And it ends with her going to the gynecologist. Bennett thought that women were reacting to the contradictory expectations of being a woman. Baldy continued to reflect on her thoughts. Perhaps what's going on is that women are finding a way to explore their anger about recent history without feeling like they have to drown themselves in the bathtub in real water. Only Barbie could say, by giving voice to the cognitive dissonance required to be a woman under the patriarchy, you robbed it of its power, and then turned it into a laugh line, concluded Miss Baldy. The second article, the second New York Times article I found was by Andy Seisler. Miss Seisler has an interesting question in her article entitled "Barbie has never been a great symbol, but she's an excellent mirror." Her question is, after all these years, does Barbie still matter? And if she does, then why? Similar to Cinderella, Barbie has been at the center of countless debates about who women are, who they should be, and how they look, and what they want. As Miss Seisler reminded us about the movie tagline, "If you love Barbie, this movie is for you. If you hate Barbie, this movie is for you." And clarify that Barbie is in the most literal way, everyone's business. Miss Eisler voiced how we feel about Barbie perfectly. Barbie is that childish thing none of us can put away, because as long as she's existed, she's never been a child. Rather, she's been an emblem, a scapegoat, a lightning rod, a target, and most of all, a mirror. However we feel about Barbie at a given moment says a lot more about us than it does about Barbie. As Barbie changes, so have our expectations for her. In the movie, Barbie's taking a hero's journey. We keep adding standards for her to live up to. And the most interesting thing about Barbie has always been our reactions to her. Thank you.